In this lecture, we're going to focus on attitudes. You'll be somewhat familiar with this topic because we covered some aspects of it in the previous lecture. In this series of videos, we'll define attitudes, describe how they form and how they're measured, and explore how they affect our behaviors. We'll also examine effective persuasion techniques and the concept of cognitive dissonance. You'll build on this information when you study social influence in the next lecture. What are attitudes? Attitudes are evaluations or judgments about a person, place, object, or idea. Examples include love, dislike, admiration, and hate. Our attitudes vary in strength along positive and negative dimensions. Here's an illustration of these two dimensions. Positive attitudes are strong and positive. Negative attitudes are strong and negative. Ambivalent attitudes are called dual attitudes. They're strong, and they incorporate a mixture of both positive and negative attitudes. Indifferent attitudes are also a mixture, but they're low in intensity. Attitudes are made up of cognitive, affective, and behavioral components, the ABCs of psychology. People who have a high need for evaluation have strong opinions about certain issues. They tend to view their worlds in more judgmental terms and are more opinionated than people who have a low need for evaluation. Attitudes serve an important function. They allow us to quickly and easily judge whether something we encounter in the world is good or bad, safe or dangerous. Unfortunately, our attitudes are not always accurate reflections of reality. They can lead us to be close-minded and resistant to change. Social psychologists are also interested in implicit attitudes, which are automatically activated from memory without our conscious awareness, especially those related to sensitive or controversial topics. Recall that in the previous lecture, we learned about specific types, implicit racism, and microaggressions. In the next section, you'll learn more about where attitudes come from. How do attitudes form? Everyone develops attitudes about themselves, other people, the places they go, the objects they see, and the ideas they encounter. This process is immediate and automatic, and as you know, sometimes occurs without our awareness. There are two camps when it comes to the origin of attitudes. There's some evidence that attitudes are inherited. Some twin studies and extended family studies suggest that we differ in our attitudes in part because of our genetics. For example, identical twins tend to have more similar attitudes than fraternal twins. These results suggest that we may be disposed to hold certain attitudes as a result of inborn physical, sensory, and cognitive skills, temperament, and personality. Of course, there's plenty of research to support the notion that attitudes are learned from our environments. It occurs when we're exposed to attitudes objects and learn the attitudes of our in-groups. It also occurs through conditioning. We tend to adopt attitudes that will be rewarded and avoid those that will be punished. This may not always be the case, but it's probable. Both of these factors are very much influenced by one's culture. The immediate environment, too, makes a difference. For example, sometimes we form an attitude toward a neutral stimulus simply because it has been repeatedly associated with another attitude object that we evaluate positively or negatively. This is called evaluative conditioning. Advertisers take advantage of this process by pairing their products and services, which may at first invoke indifferent attitudes, with people, places, objects, or ideas that the audience likes or favors. They might pair beauty products with models, vehicles with celebrities, or politicians wrapping themselves in the U.S. flag. Over time, the audience begins to associate the products, vehicles, and politicians with positivity. How are attitudes measured?